We now get into really, really fun things with math. And a lot of students, when they see these techniques, think that they're magical because they make really difficult questions seem super easy. And I promise you, it's not magic, it's just math, but math is pretty cool. And this particular technique is called pick a number, any number. And you might have heard of this technique from teachers as plug-in, but plug-in can kind of be ambiguous. So pick a number, any number means that you get to pick literally any number out there to help you solve a question. And the times when you're going to use this technique are on questions that have variables. The whole purpose of this technique is to help eliminate using variables and get us back to what we really know and have been doing forever, which is straight on arithmetic. So when we're picking a number, any number, I kind of lied a little bit. You can pick any number out there, but there are certain numbers that are better than others. The numbers that you want to avoid are 0, 1, and any number already used in the question. Now, those numbers aren't going to get you the wrong answer. They just might make more than one answer choice correct. The reason being is that 0, 1, and numbers used in the question have special properties. We know that 0 times any number equals 0. So if the answer choice involves multiplication with that variable, then a 0 could make more than one answer choice the same number. Same thing with 1. 1 times anything is itself. So once again, because of that special property, it could make more than one answer choice correct. And then a number already used in the question. Any question that involves any sort of subtraction could result in a 0 if you pick that same number that was already used. So you want to just avoid doing those because you don't want to make the problem harder on yourself. The whole purpose of this lovely magical technique is to make hard questions easy. So in general, when you're picking numbers, you want to pick nice round numbers that are just easy to work with. My favorite number to use is 10, just because it's round, super easy, and simple. Don't pick fractions, don't pick decimals, don't pick numbers like 57. Simple, basic, small numbers are where you want to be. So we're going to test this technique out on a word question that's involving variables. So this word question says, if there is a factory that has M machines, and each of the M machines prints 6 newspapers every S seconds, how many seconds will it take to print 18,000 newspapers? So now we're going to apply this technique to a question and see how magical it can be. So this question says, at a certain plant, each of M machines prints 6 newspapers every S seconds. If all the machines operate simultaneously without interruption, the question is asking us how many minutes will it take to print an entire run of 18,000 newspapers. Now there's a couple of things that you want to pay attention to here. Number 1, we have a lot of letter variables. We have M machines, S seconds, and those make the question a little more awkward for us to work with because we much prefer dealing with numbers. The second thing that you really want to pay attention to is the fact that they are asking for how many minutes, but they gave us units in seconds. So automatically they threw in a little trap in there because if we failed to convert the units, we're automatically starting off with a careless mistake. But we want to make this even easier on ourselves, and we want to avoid using these variables. So what we're going to do is we are going to pick out numbers to put in place of those letters. Now, first thing we're going to pick out is what we're going to use for S. And in this case, since the question is asking for it in minutes, we're going to want to use 60 for S, because that is going to make our lives so much easier. Because now, instead of it saying 6 newspapers every S seconds, it now reads 6 newspapers every 60 seconds, or we could change that to 6 newspapers every minute. So now automatically, just in that one number that we picked, we're now using the correct unit for the question. Then we can really pick any number we want for M. Maybe we want to go with 10. So now if we think about this question, we know that there's 10 machines. Each of them prints 6 newspapers every minute. So all in all, out of those 10 machines, if each one does 6 newspapers every minute, so that means that at this plant, it's producing 60 newspapers every minute because we have 10 machines that each print 6 newspapers a minute. So in this question, since we're asking for how many minutes it takes to print 18,000 newspapers, we now have ourselves a really basic ratio question. So if we know that it's 60 newspapers in 1 minute, how many minutes to print 18,000 newspapers? So just as we did in arithmetic, we check units and units on the bottom, units and units on the top, everything matches, and now we get to cross multiply. So we end up with 60x equals 18,000. Now to get x, we just divide both sides by 60, and we get x, we cancel out the zeros, equals 300 minutes. And you might think that you're done now. However, now you're going to take a look at the answer choices and you're not going to find 300 there. So let's take a moment and look at all of our answer choices. Taking a look at our answer choices here, we now notice that we don't see 300 anywhere. So don't get frightened that you messed up this question. We didn't, but we have one more step before we can figure out which one of these is our correct answer. And the last step is realizing that each one of these answer choices has the S and the M from our original question. But what we want to remember is that we changed S to 60 and we changed M to 10. So what we need to do is go through the answer choices and see which one of these is equal to 300, which is our answer, using the numbers that we picked originally. So looking at A first, A is 180 times S, which is 60, divided by M, which is 10. So we can cancel out the 0, and we definitely know that 180 times 6 is not equal to 300, so A is out. It's not our answer. Looking at B, this one says 50 times S, which is 60, divided by M, which is 10. So we cancel out the 0 and we get 50 times 6, which makes us extremely happy because it's 300 and it's our answer. So we just took a really, really difficult word question with variables and made it magically easier by picking out nice numbers to really open up this question and make it seem like it's something basic that we did in arithmetic.